And they hate nuclear power because of one movie, the China Syndrome. They hate it. You cannot get through to them and tell them, based on what you believe, nuclear is the absolute only source that you should be relying on. It's completely safe. It doesn't pollute. It regenerates. It's renewable. But no, because there might be a meltdown. Jane Fonda movie. You tell them how toxic the batteries are in their electric cars and how they have to dispose of them when they wear out, and they won't believe you. And it's a problem. It's a problem when, we conservatives, the ones that are actively involved in stuff like this, I don't know about you, I've arrived at my celebrated points of view by way of genuine intellectual application. I've debated myself. I've debated others. I've questioned. I've researched what other people say. I have sought, in other words, to honestly, legitimately, mentally confirm what I believe. There's not one part of that equation that applies to most people on the left that you would run into, average ordinary Toms, Dicks, and Harrys out there on the left. They don't get anywhere near any kind of mental process that involves thinking, critical thinking, analysis. They don't get to what they believe because they can't. Believing that this current circumstance is a godsend is not natural. Believing that an economy in tatters and 22 million people out of work is a good thing is not normal. It's sick. It's dangerous. And you can't get through to them using economic successes and failures, stories, statistics. It really, you know what? It boils down to something even more basic. The vast majority of these people literally think what they think because of hatred. It is hatred that the people that propagandize them use as the gateway or the pathway into these people's so-called hearts and minds. But if you're debating these people on Twitter, I'd save myself the aggravation. What else we have here? Other states thinking about reopening and protests are taking place. Oh, you got to hear something. The Attorney General Bill Barr was on the Hugh Hewitt show today, radio show this morning, and this has just got these people on the left fit to be tied. They think this guy needs to resign. This is not what Attorney Generals do. This guy's dangerous. I want you to listen to what he said, talking about the stay-at-home orders issued by the states.
These are unprecedented burdens on civil liberties right now. So the idea that you have to stay in your house is disturbingly close to house arrest. We're looking carefully at a number of these rules that are being put into place, and if we think one goes too far, we initially try to jog on the governors into rolling them back or adjusting them, and if they're not, and people bring lawsuits, we file statement of interest and side with the plaintiffs.
Were you able to understand that? All right. I wasn't. It's a good thing I have the transcript. What he said here was, these are unprecedented burdens on civil liberties right now. The idea you have to stay in your house, that is disturbingly close to house arrest. We are looking carefully at a number of these rules that are being put into place, and if we think one of them goes too far, we initially try to jawbone the governors into rolling them back or adjusting them. And if they're not, if people bring lawsuits, we file a statement of interest and side with the plaintiffs. He was saying the same thing about shutting down business. Where do these people get the authority to do this? And the people issuing the authority are not elected. Unprecedented burdens on civil liberties right now. The idea you have to stay in your house. And I have to tell you, folks, I get myself in trouble. Let's just put it this way. I have seen local websites. I've studied them from all over. You would not believe the arrogance and the we are watching you. We are observing that you are not observing social distancing when you're out walking, and we are taking notes, and we are taking names, things of that sort. People being publicly shamed on city town websites. There was one the other day. Make sure that you take your keys out of your car and don't leave it unlocked with the keys in it in your driver. So what am I, 10 years old? We are studying. We are watching. We are paying attention to people who are violent. And we have our snitches, by the way. We are being informed by townsfolk that people were seen in a public park, even though the parks have been closed. We have been told that people are not practicing proper social distancing. It's all gone to their heads. After the Attorney General way. And by the way, the turtle said today that he doesn't like this idea of the states being bailed out. He thinks the states ought to be allowed to file for bankruptcy, but bailing out these states like New York, it's a waste of time and it's a waste of money. He said some cities have had to file for bankruptcy. Why should the states get bailouts? And Governor Cuomo had for you yesterday. Governor Cuomo said that his state budget is going to be whatever he can score out of Trump. Whatever he can get from the federal government is what the New York state budget is going to be. Whatever the budget was, it's gone. They don't have any money. And it would have shown up if Cuomo ever was actually the nominee for the Democrats. I don't think it would work. His performance managing the business of the state has been a debacle. Oh, I want to weigh in on Michelle Obama and the potential, the rumor out there that she might end up being the vice presidential running mate for Joe Biden. I just have to tell you, and here's the I don't see it. Now, I could end up being way wrong, but you think she wants it? No, yeah, you're going to look at the Obamas. The Obamas are in Fat City for the first time in their lives. Like the Clintons. The Clintons didn't have a dime to rub together when they were in the White House, and now look at them. The Obamas ditto. Now the Obamas got their Netflix deals, and they got whatever other underwriters. They've got their massive home next to Skip Gates and Martha's Vineyard. They have their massive home in Washington, their massive home in Chicago. Massive home in Hawaii. It's the state of her